What is up, everyone? This is Colt Schroeder, a.k.a. the Buffalo Nerd, coming back at you this week with my top DFS plays for the week. Last week went well. I think the only kind of one that didn't work out to the way that I would have hoped was Joe Mixon not finishing that game. He didn't end up producing, but I think everybody else that we hit up last week as top plays definitely panned out for us and produced. So this week, I want to go ahead and hit the top guys again. A quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. Give you my top guy and then a couple other people that you might want to consider as you're moving into this week's DFS plays. So starting out at the QB position again this week, same as last week, Josh Allen is a clear and obvious play here. Baltimore's been giving up a lot of points. Josh Allen's been producing a lot of points. This game really should develop into a shootout, depending on what the weather does here with the hurricane and that kind of stuff. But this really should be a game that we see Josh Allen and Lamar go kind of back and forth. And if that's the case, Josh should produce really good numbers for you again this week. If you're not really wanting to pay that high, I like Kyler against Carolina this week. I know it's a little suspect. I think he's going to have to run the ball a little more this week, which should produce. But Carolina's pass defense has not been that great so far this season. So I think that Kyler is going to provide you an opportunity to get some easy points at a little cheaper value, maybe a guy that could finish top 5. Couple like low-level guys that I think you should consider this week would be Jared Goff. He's got a great matchup against Seattle. Obviously, he's got a couple guys dinged up in Swift and Ron. But if you're going to go into this game against Seattle, who's not looked good, Atlanta just went into their house and beat them. So Marcus Mariota put up decent numbers against them. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions offense have looked very good early. I think there's no reason to believe that they can't produce again this week. So Jared Goff might be a nice sneaky play for you. Also, Jacoby Brissett. He's got Atlanta. Atlanta's been giving up a lot of points, and they haven't gone up against great quarterbacks. So if you're looking to go real cheap on the quarterback and try to spend your money elsewhere, Jacoby Brissett might be a guy you want to look at. Moving over to that running back position, for me this week, Nick Chubb is my top guy. I think just watching him last week, he's Nick Chubb, right? He's playing behind one of the best offensive lines. You've got Jacoby Brissett, who's not really ever going to be a passer, right? So Chubb is going to always have his value. And I think going up against Atlanta, who's been playing all right football, but they're giving up points. They're in games 20 plus. Every game I think has been 20 plus for them. So Chubb to me has a beautiful opportunity here to just have a bang up game. He might only play, into the first half of this, depending on how this goes. But I think that Chubb is set to have a great week. Also, I think you have to look at Barkley. He looks healthy. He looks great. He's got a matchup against Chicago that's not necessarily great as far as the run goes. But with Sterling Shepard out, they've got a lot of question marks at wide receiver. I think that you can plug Barkley in there, and he's going to catch more balls this week. He's probably going to be your very productive back for you. If you're looking for lower level kind of stuff, I think Jamal Williams, obviously, in that same Seattle matchup, could very well put up a touchdown at minimum this week. Obviously, he's only going to really get into that top 10 if he gets a couple touchdowns, because he might not produce a lot, but he seems to have a very safe floor of at least probably doing 70 yards, and a touchdown wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for him. Then you got Najee Harris up against the Jets. It feels like a real good opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get Najee on track. He should have a top 10 performance this week against the Jets, I would say, and without an issue, even though he hasn't shown that. But it's another one of those spots that you look and you're getting a guy that's probably being priced outside that, and he's going to have a real good opportunity to get in the top 10. Wide receiver is my top play this week. I've talked about that Detroit game a little bit, but Tyler Lockett has been getting a ton of targets lately. He looks to be the Geno Smith blanket. So if I'm going to put that up against the Detroit team that's been giving up a lot of points, they've been giving up a lot of yards, I think Tyler Lockett is set to have probably at least an 8-catch game, whatever the yards might account to. He's probably going to get in the end zone this week. To me, Tyler Lockett is easily probably the best play and my favorite play for this week. But other guys I really like, CeeDee Lamb. He's looked good with Rush. I think the thing we were waiting for was to see if he could do that, if Cooper Rush could be that guy, and Cooper Rush has been that guy. And since he's been that guy, I have faith in CD. He's obviously their best player. Michael Gallup, not back probably this week. Even if he is, he's going to be very fresh back. I think the guy you can count on is CeeDee Lamb to produce for you this week. If you're into the Thursday night stuff, I think T. Higgins has a good matchup against Miami. Xavier Howard is still dinged up. They just gave up 400 yards to Josh Allen last week. Joe Burrow should be able to put up right around 275. At 300 yards. I think if he's putting up numbers like that, then you're going to get good production out of T. Higgins this week. And my last guy that I really kind of like that's a little sneakier play that he's not going to probably be sneaky for much longer is I like Brandon Ayuk this week. I think that with Jimmy G being back, you saw an uptick towards Ayuk And if you look back at last year when Jimmy G was there, Ayuk was heavily targeted. He was doing really well in this offense. So I think you could look at throwing Ayuk into your lineups this week and be very happy with the results you're going to get from him. Again, tight end this week is just, it's dismal. Every time the tight end is just, I just have a hard time really buying into people. But if in that Detroit game, I do believe that Jared Goff could have a good game. And if he does, I think Hawkinson is easily the best tight end this week that you could look at. He's going to have the opportunities, especially if they're down Swift and they are down Amon-Ra St. Brown, then you're going to find that both of these guys are going to need somebody in the red zone, and I think Hawkinson's going to be that guy this week. So if I were you, I'd plug him in the lineup. I also like Gerald Everett's opportunity this week against Houston. Houston's it's been playing a good defense. They're keeping themselves in games. I think they could definitely beat you if you're not paying attention. The Chargers are coming off that massive loss and where they got blown out by Jacksonville. Everett looked good in that game. Keenan Allen is still banged up. I think there's still plenty of opportunity for Everett to have a really nice week this week. And if you're looking for that kind of like bottom level, maybe guy that could go off this week, that there's potential there, I would say at least. I like Daniel Bellinger from the Giants. He was drafted by this coaching staff in Dable, and Dable built an offense that showed that Dawson Knox could be a productive tight end. And I think you're going to see Bellinger have an opportunity to develop in that role the same way as Dawson Knox did. And if you look at last week, he was targeted nicely with all the wide receiver question marks. Sterling Shepard is now done for the season. This feels like an opportunity for him to kind of be that guy in the middle when Daniel Jones is running for his life again, probably, that he's going to be a guy that he could easily probably sneak out and get the ball to 4, 5, 6 targets with the potential of a touchdown for the price point. That's a guy that I'm going to look to be putting in my lineups. That's going to do it for the DFS for this week. I appreciate all you guys that are starting to join in and follow the show. I know most people here because of the Buffalo Nerd Sports Podcast, but we're going to start pumping this stuff out every week. The DFS plays, prop plays, and then the best bets for the week. So I hope you guys enjoy the content that's going to be coming out. I appreciate all your support. Make sure that you guys are following the show, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this stuff around, and leave me comments down below to let me know what you guys think about what I'm up to, what I'm saying, and if you disagree or if you agree with me. But of course, thanks again for listening this week, guys. See you soon.